10. Poison alcohol. The conspiracy theory during Prohibition was that the government poisoned alcohol to stop people from consuming. It turned out that the crazy conspiracy theory, suggesting that the government is behind it, turned out to be right. Although the government never directly poisoned drinking alcohol, it did take steps to ensure that toxic chemicals were included in industrial alcohols. Prior to Prohibition, manufacturers of industrial alcohol had been mixing booze with dangerous chemicals for many years. It got even worse between 1926 and 1933. The federal government forced manufacturers to use stronger poisons to discourage bootleggers from turning alcohol into moonshine. That didn't stop bootleggers or their customers, which resulted in over 10,000 Americans dying due to the poisoned booze by the end of Prohibition. 9. Dead Children Project. While laughing at crazy conspiracy theories seems to be fun, it all ends when they turn out to be true. Let's take Project Sunshine as an example. In the aftermath of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, the United States government commenced a major study to measure the effects of nuclear fallout on the human body. The gossip said that the government was stealing dead bodies to do radioactive testing. The truth is that the government had been stealing dead body parts. They needed young tissue, so they recruited a worldwide network of agents to find recently deceased infants and children, and then collected samples and even limbs, each taken without notification or consent from more than 1,500 bereaved families. 8. Controlling the mind. Conspiracy said that the CIA tested LSD and other drugs on Americans in a top-secret behavior modification experiment. The truth is that the experiment was known as MKUltra and it was real. CIA first started the program by using volunteers, but the top-tier heads of the program soon began dosing people without their knowledge, which left many victims permanently mentally disabled and some people even died. CIA chemist Sidney Gottlieb wanted to create a way to seize control of people's minds, and he realized it was a two-part process. First, you had to blast away the existing mind. Second, you had to find a way to insert a new mind into that resulting void. The aim was to develop a mind-controlling drug that could be weaponized against enemies. The end of Gottlieb's career came in 1973 when his patron, Richard Helms, who was then director of the CIA, was removed by President Richard Nixon. Once Helms was gone, it was just a matter of time until Gottlieb would be gone, and most important was that Helms was really the only person at the CIA who had an idea of what Gottlieb had been doing. So as they were both on their way out of the CIA, they agreed that they should destroy all records of MKUltra. Gottlieb actually drove out to the CIA Records Center and ordered the archives to destroy boxes full of MKUltra records. However, it turns out that there were some records found in other places, which is why the truth has leaked to public and we know about this conspiracy. 7. The First Lady Who Ruled the Country. President Woodrow Wilson was incapable of governing due to having a stroke. The conspiracy said that his wife stepped in to run the country. The truth is that Wilson did suffer a stroke towards the end of his presidency, so the government decided that it was in the country's best interest to keep things quiet without causing any public chaos. The information was kept quiet for few months, during which time his wife, Edith Wilson, was making most executive decisions. Despite Mrs. Wilson claiming that she acted as a steward, historians who analyzed Wilson's tenure confirm that Mrs. Wilson was in fact a president for more than a year. 6. Government surveillance John Lennon. Conspiracy said that the FBI was spying on the former signer of the Beatle, John Lennon. Crazy celebrity conspiracy theories are always interesting, and this one is certainly true. Lennon was considered a threat to the government by singing anti-war songs like Give Peace a Chance, which wasn't something that Richard Nixon, who was at the time the President of the United States, admired. In 1971, the FBI put Lennon under surveillance, and the immigration services tried to deport him a year later. Lenin is one of the 13 famous celebrities, which you probably didn't know were being watched by the FBI. 5. The government is spying on us. While we are still in the subject of the government spying on famous celebrities, the conspiracy theories also said that with the technology advancing, the government is using its best resources to also track its citizens. The truth is that in 2016, government agencies sent around 28,000 requests for user data to Google, around 50,000 to Facebook, and 9,000 to Apple, according to the EFF, which stands for the Electronic Frontier Foundation, a non-profit organization which defends civil liberties in the digital world. You have also probably heard it a lot of times to hide your camera when it's not in use. There are chances that someone is watching you through that camera right now. 4. Tobacco. Conspiracy. Tobacco companies buried evidence for decades, which proved that smoking is deadly. The truth is that in the early 1950s, studies shown an undeniable statistical link between smoking and lung cancer. However, it wasn't until the late 1990s when Philip Morris, the largest cigarette manufacturer at the time, admitted that smoking could cause cancer. 3. The Gulf of Tonkin Incident. In August 1964, North Vietnamese warships purportedly attacked United States warships. The conspiracy said that it was fake to provoke American support for the Vietnam War. The truth is that by the time the news reached Americans, the facts surrounding the North Vietnamese attack on the American naval ship were already fuzzy. The declassified intelligence documents have revealed that Maddox had provided support for South Vietnamese attack on a nearby island and that the North Vietnamese were responding in kind. 2. The Fruit Machine Canada. Conspiracy said that the Canadian government was so paranoid about homosexuality that it developed a fruit machine. The truth is that it really happened. In the 1960s, the Canadian government hired a psychology professor from the Carleton University to develop a way to detect homosexuality in federal employees. He came up with a machine that measured the diameter of the pupils of the eyes in response to same-sex erotic imagery. People were first led to believe that the machine's purpose was to rate stress. After knowledge of its real purpose became widespread, few people volunteered for it. However, by that time, the government already collected files on 9,000 people who had been investigated. The rumors say that over 500 men were fired from civil service and the military. 1. Products with an expiry date. The conspiracy said that most products that we buy in shops have an expiry date, whether it's a new iPhone or a new washing machine. While it's a cliche that products today aren't made to last, everything seems to have a built-in expiry date. It's not your imagination. The technical term is called planned obsolescence, which means that products are deliberately designed with an artificially short lifespan. It can either be achieved by intentionally using material that will break faster, denying repairs, or by using non-replaceable batteries. Another great example is software lockout, where developers force users to upgrade to new versions, meaning that the new update uses a lot more resources, which automatically slows down your device and makes you go and buy a new one, or by pulling support and compatibility with older ones. In December 1924, the world's biggest light bulb manufacturers met in Geneva to form the Phoebus cartel. While the cartel itself only lasted until the 1930s and its existence wasn't uncovered until decades later, its real legacy was the introduction of a shorter lifespan for light bulbs. Prior to 1925, light bulbs typically lasted around 2,000 hours. The cartel managed to have that to just 1,000. This cartel is the most obvious example just because the evidence documents, which confirm what was going on, have been found. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and keep an eye out for new videos, which are uploaded on every Friday.